A wise person once said, if you really want to know how stupid a sentence is, all you gotta do is read it out loud.
You're a dimwit, a nitwit, a half-wit, and a dip, a peon, a moron, an utter bore and yawn. Imbecile, ignoramus, vile, yucky, heinous. A nincompoop, a ninny, and absolutely cringy.
Yeah, this was the preview for this audiobook. This is the sneak peek that you get to click on before buying the actual thing. This is what she wanted us to hear. I'm not sure why. Let me know in the comments what kind of impression this left on you. Did this make you want to buy this thing? Anyways, Gabbie Hanna is a very controversial YouTuber who keeps getting involved in a whole bunch of drama. She recently went on this rampage calling people out on her YouTube channel like Rice Gum. Remember that guy? Now, I don't hate myself too much, so I actively decided not to watch any of this stuff, but I do hate myself just enough to listen to these audiobooks that are written and voiced by Gabbie herself, just to learn a little bit more about this person. Gabbie, for years, attempted to kind of stray away from being just a YouTuber, as ironically enough, a lot of YouTubers tend to do. Her most famous attempt is her music. I'm sure a lot of people out there remember this beautiful moment.
So what if I'm the monster?
But unlike other YouTubers, like Shane Dawson, I found the stuff that Gabbie did outside of YouTube, specifically her music, to be not horrible. You can see that there is some sort of capability in what she does. And I can already see some of you typing out in the comments, oh, Pinely, if you listen to these things instead of reading them, you're gonna miss out on a whole bunch of stuff. You're gonna miss out on all these incredible drawings illustrated by Gabbie. And that way, you're not gonna get the full experience of the book, you little box-headed dumbass. You know what I say to that? I don't care. If Gabbie did not want anyone to listen to her books in audio form, she probably shouldn't have made an audiobook version of them. So before anything, I made sure to put on my Mr. YouTuber mask just so I don't scare any of you guys off with my freak box face, and I kicked everything off by listening to Gabbie's first poetry book, called Adultolescence, while walking on a treadmill. Please don't ask me why I'm walking on a treadmill in the comments. It's none of your business. I might be even rude when I answer you. Now, if I wanted to buy this book properly, the first thing I really needed was money. This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Honestly, guys, I've been having a blast using Surfshark for the past few weeks. It's really good and easy to use. The main reason I've used it is honestly to watch content that's blocked off in my country. For example, a few days ago, I really wanted to watch this heist movie called American Animals. But oh no, what's that? It's only available in Netflix Japan? What am I gonna do? I can't fly over to Japan right now. We're in the middle of a global pandemic, for Christ's sake. Boom. With a touch of a button using Surfshark, everyone thinks I'm in Japan right now, and I can watch this movie and many others in pure absolute peace. You can install Surfshark on your computer, phone, and smart TV. They offer 24/7 live customer support, and they also offer you a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can just give it a shot, see how you feel, with absolutely no risk. And hey, if you click on the link in my description and use the code PINELY, you get 83% off and 3 extra months for free, which I'd say is pretty great. So yeah, thank you Surfshark. Anyways,
There are a lot of people who had a hand in making this dream come to life. To Shane Dawson, thank you for pushing me to stop.
When I heard that the first person that she decided to credit was Shane Dawson out of all people, I have to admit, I was shaking in my little Pinely boots. It's just not a good sign, is it? It seems like as a society we're sort of over calling things cringe, which is a bit unfortunate because now I have no idea how to describe this thing. It's very messy. I guess messy would be a good word. While there are a bunch of poems that suck, there are also a lot of poems in here that are actually kind of decent. There was one I really liked detailing this relationship and the way this person who was essentially just a stranger at the beginning before they met, over time took that role of a stranger once again. And she really managed to capture the tragic feeling of it all really well. But then on the other hand, we also get a lot of poems that just kind of feel pointless to me. As in, I didn't really get what was the point of including them in this book. The sheer amount of times this thing made me say the phrase, "Is that it?"
Fashion.
Jesus Christ. Should possibly be considered a criminal offense, at least in my eyes. Here's the poem that made me say that in this specific clip. Tragically enough, it happened right after the one that I really liked from earlier.
Happy. Every time I try to write a silly poem, it turns out incredibly sad.
Every time I try to write a silly poem, it turns out incredibly sad. Okay, so what? Is this a poetry book or a book of tweets you left in your drafts? What is this doing here? But hey, you know what? She wrote this, she put this in her book, so let's all try to get together and analyze this thing. How to analyze poetry. Okay, let's take a look at this. 1, read the poem. Okay, easy. Already done that. We're ahead of the curve. 2, read the poem out loud. Every time I try to write a silly poem, it turns out incredibly sad. Okay, sounds good. 3, map out the rhyme scheme. Every time I try to write a silly poem, it turns out incredibly sad. Poem, sad. I really like rhymes. I really do. And I know that poems don't have to rhyme, but I really like rhymes. It's fun to see them. I think they manage to give the written word some sort of life. By just reading a few sentences, you can feel the way everything is supposed to flow from one word to the other. It's so much fun. I don't think that Gabbie Hanna is a big fan of rhymes. She just isn't. That's why so many of her poems just kind of feel like statements to me. There's one called Belt, which is just a story essentially. She talks about this one time she was in school and some kids made fun of her for buying clothes from Walmart. But hey, guess what? Apparently one of those people went to school a few days later wearing some nice Walmart stuff herself. So I'm sure there's some lesson to be learned in this. It's a cool story, but that's just what it is, a story. It's no different than me sitting next to a friend telling them about something that happened to me the other day. It's just a story. There are no rhymes, obviously no real structure, and while it does definitely have a meaning, it's just kind of lazily said out loud at the end of the whole thing.
Bullies are the most insecure people on the planet.
There's no need to use your brain when Gabbie Hanna would just tell you what everything is about. One of these poems is just a pun.
Relative. Time is relative. Beauty is relative. Family is relatives.
Boo! Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Boo! This sucks. I feel like before going into this book, she might have had a few solid ideas, maybe poems that she kept for herself for a few years, and then her publisher maybe told her, hey, listen, Gabbie, you can't make a book that's only like 30 pages long. We gotta pump this thing up. So then she was forced to make all this crappy filler poems like family is relatives or whatever. And it's pretty unfortunate because what it mainly does is just hide some of the better stuff that we can find in here. Something that I think aged pretty badly in this is the whole quirkiness of Adultolescence. I think it was already aged kind of badly at the moment that it came out in 2017. You got this one poem about pizza that just feels like something that someone would write all the way back in 2012.
If you eat an entire pizza by yourself in the woods and no one's around to see it, do the calories count?
And she has this other poem about how if the world would end, the first thing she'd do is go to an all-you-can-eat buffet. Get it? Because eating food is funny. I'm the last person out there to mind a nice poem about food. I think that food is nice. Like most people, probably. I like all those satisfying anime clips of cool-looking food. Why wouldn't I? It's beautiful. Food can be talked about and shown in art in such a gorgeous way. We associate it with all these lovely, lovely things. And Gabbie, you clearly have a lot of talent when it comes to expressing yourself with words. Why not use that talent to depict your love of food in a more impactful way? Use your words to depict something that'll make us feel something. This is just kind of fucking lazy. It's unbelievably lazy. And it's not that fun to listen to, and I'm gonna guess read. But hey, don't worry everybody, it's not all bad. Some of these poems are actually really complex. They're the type of thing where you can't help but sit around for a couple seconds trying to figure out what they mean.
Sad. Is fide.
She's satisfied, everybody. She's satisfied. Whatever that's supposed to mean. She probably dedicated a whole page just for that stupid made-up word in her book. And you know what? Since we're judging this as an audiobook and not just a book in itself, I'll say this. The narration in this thing is kind of unbelievably annoying. It sucks. She does this voice for the entirety of the book that is kinda wavy like that. It goes up and down, and again, she does it for the entire runtime of the whole thing, which is 1 hour and 30 minutes.
I like sleep. Sleep is neat. If you're having trouble, count some sheep. I like sleep. Sleep is sweet. Best of all, sleep is cheap.
Luckily enough, the narration for the second book is not nearly as headache-inducing as in this one. I guess we're talking about the second book now, so here, have a title card, everybody. We're talking about Dandelion now, which came out in 2020. Yeah, there's some sort of improvement in this one, and I'm kind of thankful for that, because this last book kind of got to me, to be honest. It starts off with this beautiful naturey music, and Gabbie Hanna's all like, "Hey everybody, this is Dandelion. I want to give a shout out to my incredible grandma, who always supported my poetry. This is Dandelion, everybody. This is way better than the last book." And then she tells us this nice poem about seeing a flower for the first time. And then we get another really cool one about the concept of finding your other half. And then we get this.
Cordial. I broke up with my demons. We're much better off as friends.
It is cringe again. You can really just sense the disappointment in my face. Poor Past Pinely. He really didn't deserve this. I'd say that the ratio between poems that took effort and lazy filler is a lot better in this one. There's like 20% more effort-taking poems in this one, which is good. I'll give that a big old thumbs up. But in this book, I think that some of the lazy stuff is just even lazier. It all comes back to fit in this sort of category of poems that are essentially just tweets.
Some people dance like no one's watching. I cry hysterically in my car like no one can see into my window.
What can I even say about this one? It is just a tweet said out loud. I can easily visualize it. There's so much of this haha I'm sad attitude in this book, which, like a lot of other themes and topics that show up in her poems, I think could be executed well if done differently, but they always end up feeling very surface level. There's one poem where she says, "If I got a penny for every time a stranger saw me crying in my car, I still wouldn't be able to buy happiness." It's like as if this poem is trying to trick you into thinking that it's doing a play on the whole money can't buy happiness saying, but in reality, if we took a minute to think about it, is she actually playing on it? The conclusion is exactly the same. She's sad and money can't buy happiness. The only thing that's added is just this small comment of, "Haha, I'm crying in my car." Another notable poem is, "Thank you for the thank you card." It's just, I can't even like try and decipher what's the deeper meaning for this, because it's just nothing. Can you get anything out of "thank you for the thank you card"? I'll even pin the best analysis of this poem in the comment section, and if I see a better one, I'll just go ahead and pin that. I actually want to see if I missed out on anything, and if I'm just dumb. One thing I would say is that some of these poems in Dandelion are a lot more aggressive than they were in Adultolescence. There's a lot more swearing. She really loves saying all these crazy words like shit and fuck all the time. Kind of the most classic swear words out of the bunch.
I hope I never have to hear your stupid fucking voice again, but please fucking call me.
Fuck, fuck, fuckity fuck. My name is Gabbie Hanna, and I love swearing. Fuck shit. You know what? I actually think we should maybe all ignore this bit. Nothing notable will happen here. I think we should all just forget about it, okay? Let's move on. But other than the whole swearing like a 10-year-old boy who just learned what swearing is, I actually kind of like this whole newfound anger that you see in this book. It's very exciting. I feel like I'm in a battlefield fighting against or with Gabbie, but she has huge muscles. There's this one creepy ass poem called Necro, which I don't know if I can say that I enjoyed it, but I will say I found it a bit thrilling.
I wish you were dead. I want to know that the reason you're not calling is your fingers have turned to dust. I fantasize that the reason you don't think about me is the worms have eaten your memory.
You know what I've realized just now? The book that this reminds me of the most is probably... Oh, I don't know if that's a bit mean, but it's probably the Diary of the Joker from the movie Joker. The resemblance is actually kind of uncanny. It also has all these goofy little drawings, you know, the type of stuff that you can't help but fall in love with. And this book, too, would kind of be unbearable as well if you decided to do it in audiobook form. You know, step, 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 step. Can't really get much out of that. It just doesn't really work for some reason. Reading really short segments right after the other in an audiobook, for some reason gets really annoying after a bit of a short time. Dandelion and Adultolescence do not work as audiobooks. At the beginning of Dandelion, we learn that poetry has been a form of art that's been important for Gabbie for many years now. So please do tell me, why in God's name did she decide to make these versions of her book when they clearly do not work? I mean, fair enough, you wanted to make an audiobook version so you can get another source of revenue after this thing that you wrote. I get that, but this is just so sloppy. She's just going from one story to another. as if she's reading out a shopping list. It feels very claustrophobic in a way, because there's just no gap between each poem. There's no room to breathe for any of this. It's just like, poem number 1, I cry in my car. Poem number 2, I'm gonna punch you. Poem number 3, haha, pizza, am I right? Food and burger. There's a pretty long moment in Dandelion where Gabbie says one after the other what feels like 20 sentence long poems, and with each one, I just feel like I'm a little nail stuck in the ground, and the poems are like a big hammer that keep pushing me closer and closer into the ground. I just think there's a better way to do this. You can maybe space everything out a bit better, add some nice music since this is a flower-themed book. The opening to this book is actually a very good example to that. It's done exactly how I think it should. Whatever you think about Gabbie's recent and past shenanigans, I think that she very clearly does possess some sort of talent. I've consumed a lot of non-YouTube content made by other YouTubers, whether it's books, movies, or songs, and honestly, she's the person who's shown the most promise out of all these people. I really hope that the next project she does, she really takes the amount of time that she needs to fill the book up with stuff that she felt like she put the right amount of time in, because I think that would be pretty nice. But yeah, I don't know, this wasn't fun. If I had to describe this whole experience in one word, I'd just say that I'm satisfied. Whatever that's supposed to mean, I don't know. If you reach the end of this video, try to sneak in this word in your comment, satisfied. That way you can be part of our secret little boxer club, and only the other people in this club will be the ones to know all about it. And other than that, subscribe. Goodbye.